Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this bank holiday weekend clash in the Premier League Women's Wheelchair Basketball. Thank you for spending your time with us on BBC Sport as well. David Wooldridge here alongside my co-commentator, Mr. Jack Perry of Great British fame. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, very happy to be here. Really looking forward to this one today. It should be good.
Absolutely. So, East London Phoenix taking on Cardiff Met Archers here at the SportsDock Arena for what is going to be a capacity crowd. Apparently a bit of a family fun day festival taking place here today. And these two sides in the league have been, well, they've been neck and neck all season, Jack, to be honest with you. And I think that's what we're going to see more on the court this afternoon as well.
Yeah, and the atmosphere hopefully will add to the game, because it's a beautiful arena here and we've got stands which are filling up as we speak. And that'll make the game just so that much more exciting as a player. When you've got stands full of fans, it just adds an extra layer to the game.
And if we have a look at the table of the Women's Premier League at the moment as well, you'll see Cardiff Met just at 1 point ahead of East London at the moment. But of course, the last time these two sides played, East London Phoenix didn't have a full-strength squad. They've got a full-strength squad. So have Cardiff Met, but maybe missing 1 or 2 players this afternoon. But it's about finishing strong. It's the final game of the season. These two sides probably will meet each other in the playoffs, but they want that mentality going into those playoffs in a few weeks' time.
It's really important because both sides will know when they meet in the playoffs what happened in their regular season games. So they'll both have that in the back of their minds. Both have got a win under their belt so far, so this is the one that will decide who has the stronger mentality going into those all-important playoffs.
So it's a big day for the Premier League. It's a big day for both these sides as well, including the fans in attendance. And I caught up earlier with coaches from both East London Phoenix and Cardiff Met. So, Coach Michael, final day of the season. You've got to be so proud of your East London side.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great day. Like, we've got the wheelchair basketball going on behind us, and our students have really taken the run on running a whole day, and hopefully we can kind of get that engagement, and everyone seems to be enjoying it, and it's exciting. And as for the team, yeah, I'm proud. Like, it's 3 months ago since opening day. It feels like a long time ago, but it's also flown by very quick, and the growth of this team has been great, and I'm really excited to see what we can do this afternoon.
And of course, playoffs are on the horizon. But today, with these two sides being as close as they are in the table, it's more about finishing strong with that mentality heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last night in practice that we haven't won in a couple of months, and it feels more recent than that, but it's about us trying to get not necessarily finishing second, but it's about trying to get that momentum into the playoffs, get going and see where we go, because obviously we're going to play Cardiff again, we know that, so it's going to be some adjustments, it's going to be some things, but we've got to build, and having a full squad today for the first time is also pleasing. Like, to get everyone back in, get everyone on the same page will be good, so we get that momentum rolling.
And of course, it's been such an iconic season, the first ever Women's Premier League, but also for East London Phoenix as well. You've got quite a young side that actually, with this kind of experience, can only get better going forward.
Oh, for sure. And I think you say young, but it's also that we've blended the youth and the experience really well. Beth, Amy, and people like that have really been able to be leaders, but we've also not overdone it and allowed the up and coming players to have a voice, and we've tried to create that culture to let everyone speak and everyone's input, because even I'm still learning every day, so I know everyone is on team. It's what we can do to push it further, and it's exciting, and we've got a long way to go still, and that's the exciting thing, like where this might look in 12 months, 24 months down the line, but obviously the priority is today and put a good performance out on the floor.
And of course, it's a big day off the court as well. There's a fan festival happening at the SportsDock, and I mean, it's safe to say that the Phoenix have took over East London.
We've got a long way to go, but it's a step in the right direction. That's the thing. We've gone out to primary schools, secondary schools, getting that interaction as well, and we've got a long way to go. And again, having a little gap has allowed us to put a better event on, and hopefully everyone that here today enjoy it. I think we're expecting 200-300 people, which is great, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep building the culture within the sport and see where it goes, because we've got such a talented group, not just in the WPL but abroad, and building into Worlds as well.
And going back onto today's game, you two sides, Phoenix and Cardiff Met, very close in the table, have been all season long as well. What can we expect to see from the game?
That's a good question. I mean, both teams are probably disappointed with performances recent days. I think we both struggled against Worcester, and I know we've got some jumps to go. For us, we've talked about tempo. We want to be better in transition. We want to be more aggressive in getting shots early in the shot clock. So for us, we're going to try and push a little bit and see where it takes us. And then And then defensively, we know where the threats are. Jade's so talented. She's growing at each and every game. But they've got those role players that can really step up. So it's really about being a balanced defensive unit and getting back as a group and communicating. Because again, we're still trying to bed in new players having the whole squad for the first time. We'll see some different things. So it should be a really good game. And if we can repeat the 24-0 run from the home game, great. But I really expect it's going to be a battle for 40 minutes.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time and massive good luck today.
Thank you very much.
So, Coach, we finished the season with two sides who are very similar to each other in a lot of ways. What can we expect to see today?
Yeah, I think the last game we played probably won't be that much reflection. They only had 5 players, and the first game was our first game as a team. So, yeah, it's probably going to be quite a different game to the previous two. Like you say, quite similar. They've got quite a standout scorer in Amy Conroy and a couple of sort of supporting pieces, and I think we're probably quite similar. So yeah, I think it'll be a little bit almost like a chess match there. Quite a similar game, and just small things might make the difference.
And almost a preview towards those national finals and playoffs as well next month. I mean, you want to finish as strong as you can for this, surely.
Yeah, I think as a coach, you kind of have that sort of stuff in the back of your mind. But from a team perspective, we're just focusing on trying to win today, and then we'll worry about playoffs when they come round, and we'll just put all our efforts into making sure that we win today.
And it's been an iconic season, the first of its kind here in the UK, the Premier League. How has it been for yourself and the players in the dressing room as well, to be part of history?
I think it's sort of finally sunk in for them that we come to these venues and there's sort of things up on the wall of players' names, and our home games we've had great crowds, and we had a nice VIP event for our last home game, and it was a really close game against Worcester, so it's nice for people who've never seen wheelchair basketball before to come along and see a really close, exciting game, and that sort of exposure. Young children playing wheelchair basketball for the first time, or young disabled kids seeing with role models, just the stuff outside of the games as well, linking in with the league has been really heartwarming to see.
And that's something that Cardiff Met in particular as a whole setup across basketball has always been really good at. So you guys had to be part of the Premier League.
Yeah, we when the thing first came out about getting involved, there was no debate about whether or not to put a team forward. We've got a WBL team and a couple of men's national league teams, and it just felt like the whole group has fit in very naturally. And it's not just as a team, but the individual players involved, they've really fit in as part of the wider club, and they're really making names for themselves at Archers in a very positive way.
So if we look towards the game today, it's safe to say that Cardiff have a really good blend of experience and youth in the side. How is that going to help you get the result today?
I think the youth element allows us to play with just a little bit more freedom. They've not experienced as much success or failure, so they kind of just go crazy. And then the veterans help keep things ticking along in tricky moments. So yeah, that blend really allows us to try and explore different ideas and styles of play within a consistent theme. But yeah, I'm really looking for the veterans to kind of step up today and make sure that we're all stay on task.
And what are those key battles that we should be looking out for today between the two sides?
I think the obvious one is probably who has the better game out of Jade and Amy. Established GB star, up and coming GB star, and which team can find the best way to neutralise the other while making the most of their players. But also I think the supporting cast, not just the scorers but those who do the dirty work, the defensive work, those who motor up and down the court without much to say on the scoreboard but are a key part. So I think that probably those two sort of areas are probably the key ones.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time and a massive good luck today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, it was great to catch up with both coaches earlier on today, and you can really sense that anticipation around this game this afternoon. It's the last time they can really send a message before those playoffs, Jack.
The last game that you play in the regular season always feels more important than the rest, even if you know who you're facing in the playoffs, which these two sides do. It just makes a difference as to the mentality that you go into those playoffs with.
And we're just about to get underway, so let's have a look at those team sheets then for both these sides before we head into this final game of the season in the Women's Premier League, starting with East London Phoenix at number 3, Karen Brown, number 5, Alice Conroy, number 7, Evelyn Roberts, number 8, Fee Tillman, number 9, Charlotte Thornton-White, number 10, Amy Conroy, number 12, Freya Levy, number 13, Beth Wheeler, number 22, Alice McAfee, number 28, Emily Branthwaite, and number 33, Nick Terrell. And their head coach today, Mr. Michael Hanson-Morris. here for this home tie, the final game of the season in the Women's Premier League. We'll have a look at the Cardiff Met Archers side. 3, Adele Atkin. Number 4, Jade Atkin. Number 5, Bethany Francis. Number 6, Rebecca Ganley. Number 7, Francesca Antonozzi. Number 8, Libby Phillips. Number 9, Maddie Martin. Number 10, Neve Watson. Number 11, Katie Morrow. Number 12, Leah Evans. Number 13, Ella Beaumont. And number 14, Anastasia Bleach, with Tom Gundrip, the coach today. Rosie Williams off with COVID. We wish her the very best, Jack. Now, both these sides really have a really good blend of experience and youth in both their sides, and that's what the Premier League's all about, providing that pathway for these players.
It's a brilliant experience for some of these players to play alongside such experienced talents like Amy Conroy, a 3-time Paralympian. We've got Beth Wheeler there as well, who's been with the GB training squad in the past, and Jade Atkins, who made her debut at the European Championships last summer. So to see those players in action, one, it's great for us to see those guys go and do their thing on court, but also for those other players alongside, it's great for them to build their experience in the game.
Absolutely, and I mean, you look at some of the players in particular from Cardiff who, Welsh nationality, are really looking to get into that Commonwealth Games side, and there's a very few places left in that and offer almost a different type of kind of discipline to the sport. So it'll be interesting to see how they represent themselves this afternoon.
It will, and the 3-on-3 style that's been brought in for the Commonwealth Games is a really interesting aspect to the game, because it's never really been done before in wheelchair basketball. It's common in the running game, but we don't see it in the wheelchair game, and it will be interesting to see how players adapt to that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the action at the Commonwealth Games and seeing how all the players get on there.
Well, of course, they being the final game of the normal season for both these sides, both wanting to leave a statement of intent, it's safe to say. And we're finishing the season for these two sides exactly how we started, right here at the SportsDock. And that time round in round 1 of the Women's Premier League, East London coming out with that 60-36 win over Cardiff. And in round 6, these two sides met once again all the way over in Cardiff. And that time round, Met Archers 63-43. So it's one apiece at the moment.
It is, and I know that the East London Phoenix players were not particularly happy with their performance when they went away to Cardiff in that loss, and I think they feel they let themselves down in that game. They did have a few players missing, but I think they'll want to make a statement here and just show that they are the stronger side here, especially going into those playoffs, which are not too far away now.
And that's exactly it, isn't it, Jack? How much of a mental advantage will these two sides have when they head into the playoffs with a big win here? That's really got to be a way to get under the skin of the opposition.
Absolutely, and for the Cardiff team, if you go into a game having lost, and then you've got to then get yourselves in the right headspace to come up against a team which you know beat you so comfortably back in this exact arena, as you said, on the opening weekend of the season, to get into the right headspace and battle away at that exact team when you know that they can just put you away by 26 points as they did earlier in the season, that's definitely something that will be playing in the back of their minds, even if they won't want to admit it.
And let's have a look at the league at a larger point here as we head into those playoffs. These two sides, it's safe to say, probably will meet each other, and the winner will take on either Loughborough or Worcester in that playoff final. And both these sides have pushed Loughborough, an undefeated side in the league, all season long, both with an 11-point and 6-point game apiece against Loughborough. They're going to be almost, I suppose, looking over their shoulder in some ways of what they can learn from each other to take on going forward if they're successful.
Definitely, and it's safe to say that Loughborough are the team to beat this season. They've been hugely impressive this season. I watched their game against East London Phoenix, and even in a game where both Amy and Beth shot the lights out, they had really good games as their two key scorers, and Loughborough just managed to weather that storm. So I think those players at Loughborough will know that they are the favourites going into the playoffs, but I think East London will fancy their chances if they can get past Cardiff first.
Well, Jack, thank you so much for joining me alongside in the commentary booth here this afternoon, taking some time out of your very busy schedule with London Titans as well. Currently the best rebounder in the league there as well. Is that what you're going to be looking out for this afternoon from these players?
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on those rebounds. I mean, in order to do that, the most important thing is boxing out, and that's always such a key part of wheelchair basketball, because if a shot goes up and you take your eye off the player you're guarding, they're just going to cruise right past you and take that rebound off you. So I'll be looking for those players to, when a shot goes up, not watching the ball, watching their player, boxing them out and going up and grabbing that board.
And that's exactly what Cardiff are pretty good at, to be honest with you, is that kind of tough basketball. And that's across all the sides that are developed in their programme, not just wheelchair basketball, all over their sport. They know their grittiness, Cardiff Met.
They are, and they've got some physical players out there. Jade Atkin, I know she'll be a force inside. She's got that experience at international level now, and she'll be battling away inside. That's one thing that she does brilliantly. I'm always very impressed. When she gets in the key, she's strong, she holds the ball firmly. There's no chance that a player's going to get that little steal or a little tip to put her off. She will hold that ball firm and finish off inside. So that's something that the Phoenix are going to have to look out for today.
And that is something that I think has been really successful in the debut season of the Women's Premier League, is mixing that experience. Some of these athletes who have won gold, silver, bronze at a really high standard international level, mixing that up with some of these younger talents who are coming through. I mean, in the East London side, there's people 16, 17 years of age in that squad.
It's amazing to see, and I know that they are absolutely loving every second of this. Having spoken to quite a few of the players, this has been a brilliant addition to the women's game in this country. And like you say, those lesser experienced players just getting a chance to play alongside Paralympians, that's something that you really don't get the opportunity to do. So it's great for them.
Absolutely, it's really raising the bar in terms of representation, encouraging those to take under the sport of wheelchair basketball. A real game changer in the sporting landscape, it's safe to say. A big thank you once again to you as well, joining us at home on BC Sports for this landmark fixture, the final curtain closer of the season between these two sides, and arguably a playoff preview as well between these two. Lot to learn from these two sides as we get underway here at the SportsDock in East London. A capacity crowd we can see in front of us, Jack. Actually, the stands really filling up for this one. Somewhat of a fan festival day as well. We'll have to go and get ourselves some hot dogs later on as we get underway between Cardiff and East London here at the SportsDock. We'll get things underway straight up with East London bringing it up the court. And in these early moments, it is really important to try and get that mental advantage, just to feel out each other, which side, seeing what they're bringing and seeing what tactics will work this afternoon for either or.
And I like that from Freya Levy early there, just taking a shot. She was left alone at the top of the key, and she can make that shot. I've seen her make that 100 times. So she needs to keep taking that shot. No problems that the first one didn't go down. She'll have plenty more opportunities, and I'm sure she'll start knocking them down.
Yeah, that pass didn't really pull off for Blease at that time round, so it's an East London ball straight out the gate with McAfee, who looks to bring it up court. Of course, gold at the school games last year. It's great to see her already at this standard. Straight into the danger zone and nicely put down by Amy Conroy. You just cannot give her that space, Jack.
No, she's so clever with the chair. What you'll have to watch for with Conroy is she's so quick with her hands on her wheels, and that is just too much for a lot of those players to defend, and she'll just get in that key over and over, and she won't miss once she's inside.
And an uncharacteristic pass there from Atkin.
Some nice hands from Beth Wheeler to get that steal as well.
Absolutely. It's McAfee once again with East London nicely swatted away by Blease, and that's what she does so well, is that gritty defending, doing the work that sometimes goes unnoticed.
Some real physicality inside, and that's what they'll be looking to do, is keep London out of the key.
That was a big attempt early on from London. Doesn't quite fall for her though, as we bring it up court once again. With Cardiff Met here in the dark blue and yellow. East London with the turquoise colour. Oh, nice little grab and go underneath the basket, and Leah Evans punishing there.
Evans, another player who can just get inside that key, very quick. She's brilliant defensively, and she'll finish off when she's inside.
Levy now for East London. 10 years of experience in that Great British pathway over to Blease. Oh, lovely stuff.
A perfect catch and shoot there. The screen was set up for her, just around 12 foot from the basket. Catch and shoot, nothing else in her mind, knocks it down.
Yeah, Blease really showing that experience above her age at the moment in this.
Yeah, I like what she's shown early on here. It's brilliant.
But on her own, big gap there, and another basket falls for Blease once again.
Nothing but net there, really pure shooting stroke.
So Conroy looking to bring it up court once again, and somehow some expert play by East London were on their own and just punished there, Jack.
That's just the transition, players crossing, getting those picks in the mid-court, and Beth Wheeler finishing off the layup after Amy Conroy saw her open, bursting into the key.
So Evans now under pressure, looking to pull off that big pass up court. Couldn't quite get there though. And the referee pulls that one back.
And that's Jade Atkin just on the side of the key, looking for that mismatch. What she'll try and do is just try and find a smaller defender that she can shoot over, because she'll happily do that from the edge of the key, and there'll be no way that the smaller defender can touch her. But that's a smart foul, because it means that they've got to reset with the ball at the end line there, and hopefully force Jade Atkin further from the basket.
That was almost exactly a carbon copy of what you just said, Jack. It's like you were on the bench with the play there.
Yep, they did well to push her out as the ball was being inbounded there.
So East London bring up court once again through Conroy. Just finds a pass and nicely laid down once again for McAfee.
And one. Great finish with the contact there. Brilliant pass from Conroy. She spotted her making that dive through the key. And the finish with the foul. She'll have a chance to convert the three-point play now.
Happy to go to the line for one. The young player within the East London ranks.
Showing no signs of nerves in front of this crowd early.
Well, she's been impressive all season long, Jack. So, you know, it's amazing to see how well she's took to this level of the game so quickly after winning gold at school games last year.
And Conroy there, just picking up the rebound. That's what they've got to do. You've got to box out, especially from free throws. You've got the player advantage from free throws. You shouldn't be giving up those offensive rebounds.
Absolutely not. And then straight right back at you. The experience of Cardiff there, just pretty much just like a knife through butter, straight through with the basket.
Evans is great with the ball in her hands. She can beat players with the ball, which is such a key skill as a guard in the position she plays.
So East London now bringing it up court once again, just looking for that answer, looking for that gap. This could be it now. Nicely done. Brilliant stuff there from Conroy. And as you said, if she's in the right position and she's taller than the opposition player, 9 times out of 10 she's at least going to get it on target with the rim.
Yep, she'll search for that mismatch.
And this is what Cardiff got to do more of, just that quick passing within the D, finding that space, being that gritty bit of play to just find the gap, but didn't quite pay off that time round as Conroy looks to bring it forward for East London. Trying to find a way through McAfee. She's underneath the basket on her own. There's reinforcements around her, but it was too little too late, and Beth Wheeler with the two.
Beth Wheeler's doing a great job off the ball of just cutting past defenders and beating them one-on-one. She's got that speed, and again, once she's inside, she's so consistent with the shot.
Well, that's exactly it. I think they just keep missing her every time. She just appears out of nowhere 9 times out of 10. And this is exactly what Cardiff are doing. Going into the defensive line, spreading it back out, and then popping a two down once again.
And they're going to have to look to start jumping her there. She's made two from that exact spot.
There was a big attempt there from Conroy. She was starting to feel this first quarter, but doesn't quite land that time round.
No, she has that range. She's got the three-point range. Not that time. I can see that she just wanted to get a little one under her belt early on, and she's made her first 3 shots. So why not try the three-pointer? But it didn't go down this time.
And a bit of a rotation for London as well, with Fee Tillman heading to the bench alongside Freya Levy. So a little bit of a change around for East London, keeping that rotation high between the players as Cardiff come up once again looking to break through that defensive line. And this time round, East London doing well to hold them off. All rim on that.
So they're jumping her hard this time because she's made 2 from outside, so they've got to jump and get out, and that's exactly what they did this time. Put more pressure on that shot.
Yeah, I was going to say they're definitely kind of more of a barrier against her that time round, but straight through. How can you stop expert play like that? Really got to find a plan for Amy Conroy this afternoon, Cardiff.
Yeah, and what she does brilliantly is use those picks from the lower point players. So you might not see those players doing the off-ball work because Amy's got the ball in her hands, but it's all important. The reason she had that lane was because of the picks off ball. So brilliant work from the East London Phoenix lower pointers there.
Yeah, it's those players in the East London side who are doing the work that you don't necessarily see that creates those opportunities for Conroy. It's Cardiff now just taking their time with this. I like this at the moment. I feel they've almost lashed at some of their chances too quickly. Oh, it doesn't quite land though that time round. And that's surprising for Evans. Usually that would fall. As Conroy brings it back at court once again. Just giving it that extra second or so, allowing her teammates to just find those gaps where they are, plug them, and create opportunities for themselves.
And Beth, with an open look from that range, she'll take that immediately as soon as she gets the chance. And there goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah, Beth is one of the most dangerous shooters in the country. She will just fire as soon as she gets any kind of space. And there, even when the rebound didn't just clanged off, she was there diving into the key, ready for the second attempt. And
I think that's exactly why Coach Guntrip called that time out there, because East London are just exploiting those gaps each and every single time. And Cardiff, to be fair, seem to be making it a bit hard for themselves, working through that defensive line. But then once they're there, there's no gap for them to pass to.
No, and the reason for that is that East London Phoenix are doing a better job getting back defensively. When you get all 5 players back, checking their shoulders, each have got their player to guard, the communication's good, whereas Cardiff are struggling to get back, and the Phoenix, they're doing a great job at crossing in the mid-court, and that's why you're seeing these transition baskets.
Exactly that. I think it's that they're almost passing, getting the play set up before they arrive to the D. They know what they're going to do. The game plan's there, and then you create chances like this with those huge gaps for them to exploit.
Exactly, and those are the easiest baskets that you can get in the game, is those layups. So if you can get layups in transition, that's the first thing all teams will be looking to do, because it's easy points on the board, close range shots, they're going to go down every time, and that's what East London are doing.
And when you look at the scoreboard at the moment, it doesn't feel like a 10-point game. It doesn't feel like we've really got out of second gear yet. Yet East London are just kind of nipping away with these odd baskets, as you're saying, in those transitions, those easy layups. Get rid of these little mistakes, and this is going to be a lot closer as we head back into the action once again. Cardiff underway once more through Martin, who just takes her time with that. Nicely laid off there to Blease, who finds the gap to Atkin, experience underneath the basket.
And that's what I was talking about before the game, is Atkin. She'll just look to get inside and use her height, her physicality to get up those shots.
Yeah, it was nice to see her get on the ball once again. I felt East London have been keeping her quiet this afternoon. And East London a basket for themselves there. Very nicely done. Beth Wheeler once again. The experience there shining through.
It's Wheeler and Conroy over and over again. Cardiff have got to do a better job. They knew before the game that those were the 2 key scorers they had to stop, and they've just not locked them down early here.
So Cardiff now just skirting around the outside, trying to find a gap. Goes over the top, doesn't fall. And doesn't quite work out that time for Cardiff. Trying those long point shoots, but doesn't quite pay off as East London bring it up the court once again here to Conroy. Trying to find that gap. They're really slowing her down, keeping her as far away from the basket as they can.
Yeah, some good pressure from Martin there. That's what they'll be looking to do. And they force the turnover. That's all through picking up your player early as you're getting back to defense. And that's what I'm talking about, is the transition defense is so important. You've got to pick up your players early and force them into turnovers like that one there.
Well, that's exactly what we were seeing before the timeout, that almost dirty work is being done by the supporting cast, allowing for that gap for Conroy just to go straight through and exploit. And Cardiff have read that, and it was nice to see that pay off for him there as we go once again. And could be a basket, doesn't quite fall though for Jade Atkin. Always kind of just went for that a little bit too quickly, a little bit too much power on it that time round.
Yeah, they're looking to get early shots up, which seems to be their game plan here.
And East London exploits that mistake there with a 2 for Wheeler once again, straight underneath the basket. It seems that we've started to find an answer for Conroy, but then Wheeler's now stepped up to the plate once again and exploiting for the 2 there.
Exactly, and if you look at, the stats here, Conroy and Wheeler, between them, have taken 13 shots here in the first quarter, and that's what Cardiff will exactly not have wanted before the game. They'll want to limit those shots and force the other role players on this East London team to take more shots, but Wheeler and Conroy have been able to dominate here early on.
Yeah, a little bit of a break to the bench for Alice Mahaffey as well. She's had a pretty impressive first quarter, but heads to the bench for a break here as we get back underway with Cardiff once more. Everything's all set, ready to go. A little bit of a conversation on our officials bench.
So what normally will be happening here is, I think the ref will just be checking that the lineups add up to the correct points. So the 5 players on court each have their own classification out of 5 points. That has to add up to 14.5 between those 5 players. So I think what they'll be checking here is just double checking that maths. It does happen because you've got to add up 5 figures pretty quickly, and occasionally coaches can get them mixed up, but I'm sure, well, they've got it right here as we're back underway.
A lot of maths in basketball to get your head round.
It really is. Yeah, don't like that side of the game so much.
You don't want to focus on the play, Jack, as Cardiff get underway once again, and what a basket there. Beautiful stuff. More of that, please, from Cardiff, making those baskets easy for themselves. That's what we haven't seen so far.
Well, Blease has been knocking them down from outside, and when you give her that space, she's going to knock it down, and the Phoenix have seen that so far, so you'd expect them to jump her a bit harder next time.
East London couldn't quite get on the end of that pass. It's going to be turned over for a Cardiff ball. Some tough defence there from Cardiff, and have really got to start making some of these turnovers equal points.
Yep, that's good that they've stopped them taking a shot there, the Phoenix, so that means they'll have an advantage coming back down the court here with Evans, who, again, demonstrating she makes the ball handling look so easy. She just flies around opponents.
She just glides, doesn't she?
It really does. There's players that you watch like that you just, it just comes naturally to them how well they move with the ball. And Conroy hustling there with a little tip.
Yeah, and we get back underway once again, and we've definitely seen more shooting, more field goal percentage from Cardiff since that timeout, but still some work to be done here with just over a minute on the clock in the first. And out of time, on the shot clock, there we go.
Yeah, shot clock violator. That's every coach's nightmare. I've been, had many a telling off from a coach when the bench isn't telling their team that they've only got 5 seconds to shoot. That's at the very least you want to get a shot from your offense, even if it's not the ideal look that you were after.
Yeah, at least pick up a chance to pick up that rebound, I suppose. And that was straight in. Made it look easy there. Beautiful stuff there from East London. Really nice, quick, easy basket, and those are going to be the ones that add up at the end of the day and really will be the reason that these two sides are separated come full time. Another easy basket right back at you from Cardiff. It's these ones that go unnoticed that you almost forget about in the long course of the game, but are the crucial ones.
Just got to stop the ball early there. Evans is just flying straight from getting the ball and bringing it down court. You just got to stop her early. It's a poor pass there, really. Amy's worked hard to get inside, and there's just a turnover there. But it's good vision to spot that. You just got to execute that pass slightly better there.
Yeah, you felt that the pace of the game was starting to crank up a little bit there, and it almost got to the players in some circumstances as we get underway once again with Evans now.
Can't convert on the layup, but again, she's just finding it easy to cut through that Phoenix defense.
So silky with the build-up to that, though, wasn't she? Beautiful.
It's easier said than done to stop her with the ball.
Lines it up. Doesn't quite land it, though. She said the bench were counting her down. Fat shot clock violation, but couldn't quite pull it off that time round.
No, and that, like you say, that's really good from the bench, because when you're on court and you're caught up and you've got a crowd here, it's loud, you sometimes you might not realise that the clock's running out. So the bench just calling out to you that little 5-4-3 just lets you know that you've got to get a shot up quickly, however that may be and however that look may be. It's better to get a shot up than just leaving the ball and turning it over at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have reached our first quarter there. I mean, those things that have been noticed to you, Jack, I suppose. For me, it's definitely, as you mentioned, that kind of transition for East London as they bring it up court, have just done it so quickly and so efficiently at the same time, whilst Cardiff have boiled up the ball themselves, but as soon as they get to that defensive zone, they seem to make it hard for themselves.
I think what Cardiff are finding really difficult to deal with is just the speed and physicality and experience of both Beth Wheeler and Amy Conroy. As soon as one has the ball, the other one's looking to cut through the key, and the other one's finding them inside. And what's brilliant for East London is that those players who start, so Freya Levy, when she started, she was there cutting and picking and making those spaces for their key scorers. Those players know their roles, and that's brilliant when you've got players on your team who are just going to create that space for your key players rather than looking to ball handle themselves or try and take the game on. They know their role and they know how they can help the team win, and that's what they're executing right now. That's why they've got a 10-point lead at the end of this first quarter.
Yeah, it looks like both sides came with a certain game plan, and then Cardiff tried to change it up slightly, but it hasn't quite settled in just yet. And as you say, the two superstars of performance at the moment for East London really shining here in this game in the first quarter. 10-point game between these two, but it doesn't feel like a 10-point game, really, does it?
Yeah, Conroy with 8 points in that first quarter and Wheeler with 10. So that is 18 of their 24 points. I mean, I said before I wasn't good at maths, but that is a large percentage of their points. So Cardiff will have noticed that, you'd hope, and be looking to key in on both Wheeler and Conroy.
Well, that's it. The play definitely going through those two players at the moment. Let's see what answers Cardiff have in this quarter through Blease, who herself has had a really good game so far, just chipping away and somewhat of a menace for the East London defence at the moment.
Yeah, Blease is 3 from 4 so far and 4 from 5.
How many times have we seen that shot this afternoon, Jack? Already from Blease. They've really got to find an answer to that.
Already, and we were talking just before about how Cardiff need to realise who's scoring for Phoenix, but Phoenix need to realise that Blease is the threat. She can score from out there.
It doesn't quite fall for East London that time, but Blease, before we go back into this one, Blease, somewhat of a smart player, and you can see it when she sets herself up for shots like that. And we bring it up at court once more with Atkin. Experience there, just taking it to the outside. Nicely cut out though by Wheeler, and it was those two veterans of the game against each other.
Yeah, Wheeler knew exactly where that pass was going. You saw her move early before the ball had even left Atkin's hands.
He goes up once more for East London, couldn't quite land it. Referee not happy what he saw there. Pushing foul called.
And that was a foul on Alice Conroy there, Amy's sister. And she was introduced to the game after seeing her sister play at such a high level for so many years, and it's great to see her getting involved here.
And you saw the expression of both the sisters on the court as well. They're loving it here this afternoon.
Yeah, they have brilliant fun wherever they are, and I know they love playing together. It's a brilliant experience for the two sisters.
For the first of two. Lashed at that one a bit too quickly. She got time.
She's just trying to generate the power, I think, is the issue here for Alice. But she had the power that time. She's just got to get it on the right line, and we'll see if she can do that here.
Doesn't land the second. And Cardiff full. And she brings up the court. Jade Atkin, captain of that Cardiff side.
Blease again, there you go. This time they're trying to get right out to her. That's exact. And there you go, forcing the turnover.
And again, we saw this in the first quarter as well. Once again, East London behind enemy lines and punished for the two.
Amy cruising away for the basket there. Just so quick in transition, no one can stop her.
Cardiff now through Blease once again. And straight from that position, doesn't quite fall that time though. I think she almost could see from the corner of her eye that she was about to be closed down and maybe rushed that shot slightly.
Exactly. As a shooter, when you're getting jumps like that, you know that those defenders are coming at you, and that does affect your shot. And that time, Blease just had to rush it a little bit and couldn't convert from outside.
Well, she's here once again, looking to line it up. Goes once more, doesn't quite all iron. Cardiff could pick up here, just about. Avoids that backcourt violation. Nice
good
pass.
work from Martin.
Yeah.
She just got rid of that in time. Almost a backcourt violation there.
Yeah, great recovery from Cardiff. There's Atkin here. Finds Martin. But out of time on the shot clock, but it looked good though.
It was a nice finish, and that is a frustrating one. Just as the shot clock violation buzzer went, the ball went down, but it won't count.
So bring it forward once again. Conroy. Straight in, and Conroy just brings up the court so quickly. We were talking earlier about the almost silky play of Evans from Cardiff. The same can almost be said for Conroy, that whilst it may not be silky, she just darts in so fast.
Again, yeah, she's brilliant with the ball. She ball handles a lot at international level, so she's very used to that role. And it's difficult to stop her with the ball. I mean, I've played and trained with her for years, and she is just really, really good with the ball in her hands. She's got great chair skills as well.
Now, there's a really good read there from Blease to just swat away the attacking play of East London.
And there's only 2 seconds left on the shot clock here, so I think Phoenix are going to struggle to get off a shot here. What they won't want to do is turn it over. So Amy just deciding there that it's not worth launching the ball from there and getting a turnover and potentially having a quick layup from Cardiff. So Cardiff will have the ball after that shot block violation.
You saw that she just looked up quickly there, didn't she? Just saw the landscape ahead of her and thought, nah, not worth it.
That's experience. That is experience, because other players would just launch that for no reason. And there she is, just picking up a steal.
And that's arguably why she took the decision she did. She knew that this was an opportunity that could happen. And look, it paid off for her. Let's see if it turns into a basket.
There you go, the physicality from Atkin before. That's just... It's once defenders come into that key, they will be aware of her presence in that. And that will just make you double check what you're doing in there. And she got the steal that time.
And once you double check, you were going to have that millisecond of hesitation, which she is going to exploit. That is what she does as such a defensive player.
Yep, her physicality is second to none in this league. She's brilliant.
There's going to be a timeout called by Cardiff once again, and they have definitely grown back into the game somewhat, but still there's those little gaps that East London are really exploiting with the speed that they have in their side. Cardiff showing somewhat of a tougher defence, playing to their strengths, but there's still a few little bits that aren't quite connecting properly yet, Jack.
No, I don't think they'll be too disappointed with the way they've started this second quarter. They've held Phoenix a little bit more here. It's still a 10-point game, so this quarter's level so far. And they'll just hope to build on that early. What they need to do is once they've got stops, they then need to get up the other end and find a way to score, that is the issue with this Cardiff team right now.
And a lot of those point opportunities are coming through Blease at the moment, and whilst a lot of them are falling, East London are slowly reading the situation there, so Cardiff need to come up with some more answers. They've tried it through Atkin, her tough defence at the back there, but when she's got no one to set up, there's nothing really they can do at the moment, whereas East London are just kind of holding, waiting for that mistake to happen, and then allowing Conroy to dart up and get an easy two.
Definitely, and that transition for East London is so important to their game, and they're really utilising that so far.
So underway once again from the baseline for Cardiff. Looks to get it underway. This is Adele Atkin this time round. Two Atkin sisters both on court now for Cardiff.
See, there's Phil Tillman. She's doing a great job there, jumping the shooter, Blease, who's been knocking them down from outside. She recognises that, gets out early and a bit over-enthusiastic. She gives away a foul there, but Phoenix won't mind that. They've got a reset and they can go again with this defence rather than letting Blease have that open shot.
And sometimes, as a player, Jack, is it almost okay to give away that foul, to have that mental advantage, to let that player know that you've got him?
Definitely, that's a sign of an experienced player, is knowing when to foul. You've got 5 personal fouls to use per game, and if you use them at the right times,
things like that can happen.
Yeah, it didn't work out perfectly for the Phoenix defence that time. Brilliant pass this time from Blease, just allowing the layup inside.
Well, that's it. They're starting to think that she's going to shoot every time, but that time, Neve Watson using her nimbleness to her advantage to just get that easy two there. Great stuff from Watson.
Yeah,
herself winning gold.
Yeah, first shot of the game as well, showing no nerves there.
And this is what we're talking about. East London just creating those gaps of opportunity, allowing these easy baskets all the time.
Yeah, the Cardiff defence just so worried about Beth Wheeler there that they allowed Freya Levy just to get inside there and an easy layup for her.
So Cardiff now just surveying the landscape. Goes up high. Martin, lovely stuff from Martin.
Beautiful shooting stroke there. Just left open on the wing, knocks down that two-pointer.
But she's one of those players that she doesn't need encouraging to take an advantage. That is why she was the 2019 Female Player of the Year, for taking those opportunities like that.
I love that about her game. Brilliant finish.
Drops as well. Lovely stuff for East London. As we're underway once again. Yeah, Terrell herself looking to represent Scotland in the Commonwealth Games this summer. In Cardiff now.
And again, I love the confidence that all the players are showing here. That's Terrell's first shot of the game. Just catch, shoot, knocks it right down. And that's what I love to see in players, and you're always looking for with these players who perhaps don't have as much experience, is that confidence just to take the shot immediately and not think, oh, should I be taking this shot? Do I need to look for my more experienced teammate? It's just having the confidence to shoot and, in that case, knock it down.
To show almost that discipline at that young age is so impressive, isn't it? Especially when some of these players are playing against athletes who... Wow!
Bang! Beth Wheeler!
Oh my word, that's what happens! That's what happens! A big time shot from Beth Wheeler.
Beth Wheeler was telling me before the game that she was knocking down threes for fun in training this week, and she told me she was going to knock some down this this game as well, and she stayed true to her promise there. Just a pure shooter, Beth Wheeler.
And you saw Cardiff there almost reading the opportunity that they thought East London were going to pass into the D, wanted to plug at those gaps, but then they just left her open to take a shot for herself. So amazing work there. But no, as I was saying earlier on, some of these players would have seen these athletes on TV playing in these massive international tournaments, and the Women's Premier League has allowed them that opportunity to play alongside them. So as you're saying, for them to have the confidence to pull off threes like that or pull off first touch baskets, it's incredible to see.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant to just see that confidence. I absolutely love to see that in players. That's such a key thing in any sport, is confidence. It's a mental game.
Underway once again, Cardiff.
And that feed Tillman just pressuring Glee straight away.
Straight on her. Goes up. Oh, doesn't quite fall. It almost whipped round the basket there.
Conroy doing a good job, just getting in her eye line, a little hand up, and that'll put the shooter off.
Bringing up corners again, East London. Nice pass to Conroy, was right there. Couldn't quite take advantage though, but it's almost her dominating height that was the advantage there, just allowing her to reach up high above anyone else, and as long as you get the ball to her, she's grand. As Cardiff bring it up onto a 3-on-1, this could be really nice. Doesn't quite fall for Jade Atkin, but that was some great experience to just really get into the eye of that defence there.
She'll be frustrated with that. She'd expect to finish that off.
Doesn't quite fall once again for East London and Amy Conroy.
I think she was hoping to draw a foul there. You saw her burst almost at the defender, and I think she was hoping for contact. So the defender did well just to stay in line with her and not give away the foul.
She always looked back as if, like, oh, was that a foul, expecting it, and it didn't quite happen. Police on this outside, where she's had a lot of joy this happening. Lays off the pass, doesn't quite land though, and East London pick up that rebound and bring it forward once again. This fast transition play up court, and it's the two players that you don't want there. Conroy. Straight down for the easy two, and it has been that player we have seen all afternoon from East London, just holding their time and then burst of speed to bring it up court.
And Amy taking her time with that shot this time, rather than diving to the basket. She pulled up, little bounce stop, post up, banks it in, easy two.
Police on this outside area now.
Look, they've recognised this. The coach has clearly said something to her. Police is under such pressure out there. She was doing the damage, and they're now struggling to score.
That's it, and they put Conroy on her there, who is the tallest player on the court. So no wonder it's really stopping Police from being effective in that position now.
But there's Atkin. That's what they've got to be aware of. You shut down Police, and then Atkin's there to get the board and use her physicality inside and knock down that two from around 4 feet.
So that is a timeout called for East London, and actually you were just starting to feel that Cardiff was starting to connect the dots a little bit, starting to work those plays a bit. Yes, okay, those plays, as we just saw there, transition that's gonna happen throughout the game against East London. That's what that side's all about, is that speed. But Cardiff were just starting to find their way through it, but it didn't quite happen. Timeout called for East London, and well, Amy Conroy this half has just been all over the place. I think I'm starting to wonder where the rest of the team are. She seems to be on the ball every time. But
she's been sensational. I mean, 6 from 10 so far, 12 points, and she is, how many assists as well? 2 assists there, 5 rebounds. She's just all over the court at all times. She's such an important player for this Phoenix team.
Yeah, absolutely. It just seems that when Cardiff have an answer for the likes of Beth Wheeler, someone like Amy Conroy comes along, but then also you have bright spots out of nowhere, for example, like Tillman suddenly becomes the focal point. So however they find an answer for one player, East London seems to have another player every time. But then there's that occasional fight back from Cardiff at the moment, where they just keep finding those little digging away at East London. Still there, still a presence. So I mean, again, Jade Atkin has been fantastic all game long, but we've seen the likes of Martin with a few baskets herself, looking impressive. So this is not over by a long stretch.
No, it's not over, and they'll be looking up at that scoreboard and thinking 13 points.
That's
okay,
nothing.
we've just got to keep chipping away at that. A few stops, and then they'll be able to cut down that Phoenix lead. But at the same time, Phoenix will be thinking, right, we're on a run here, let's keep this going and build the lead as big as we can get it before half time.
Would you say Cardiff almost need to be a bit braver? We saw that big 3-pointer earlier on from East London. Maybe something from Cardiff like that would be quite useful in this situation.
Yeah, they'll be aware of that. They don't want to rush too much and panic at this early stage. They'll just want to try and get the easiest look, stick to the game plan. As Blease brings it up, but again, just stopped early by that Phoenix defence.
Yeah, they've really found that answer for Blease, haven't they, on the outside?
But she's left alone this time. You can't do that.
Commentators curse.
Over and over again. You can't just leave her alone out there. She's going to keep knocking it down.
It's like they stopped her for the pass and then just pulled away and gave her that space. I'm not sure why they did that.
I think Atkin was cutting to the basket there. So that's the beauty of having a player like Atkin who can draw the defence away from Blease outside.
And straight back at you from London, looking impressive there. McAfee, she did really well in that first quarter. Great to see her back on court again in that side kind of hustle position there. Just gets the basket once again.
She hasn't missed yet. You can it's those, like you say, there's players who, when Conroy and Wheeler don't have the ball, bang again, Blease. She is shooting the lights out here, and London are really going to have to key into that if they're going to keep this lead, which is now down to 11.
Yeah, Cardiff really getting a lot of joy through Blease, but once again, McAfee brings up court. Picks up her own rebound, has got another chance here.
Look at that from Atkin, look at that.
That's what you want, that presence in the defensive zone. She's going to let you have one shot, but you are not going to get another opportunity.
No chance. No chance she was letting her have that second look at the basket. Just knocking that away. Huge block from Atkin. Oh, but McAfee gets right back at the other end.
Yeah, nicely done from McAfee, and it's great to see such a young player play with such pride and experience. Gets another two. Amazing stuff from McAfee. The gold medalist in the school games in 2021, already playing at this level, and you can see why. And as we said earlier on, look, you find the answer for the likes of Conroy. Someone like McAfee's there to take advantage.
Exactly, just a steal and then converting up at the other end. Easy points, and Cardiff will be disappointed with that.
All air on the end of that. No good for Cardiff that time round, as we look to reset the play once again. But Cardiff have a nice little run here in this quarter, but East London just still with those baskets constantly here and there.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to get stops. They're managing to score a little more towards the end of the second quarter, but if they're not getting stops at the other end, then it doesn't make a difference. That lead is still going to remain the same.
Absolutely right. Absolutely, especially as East London seem to have a different game plan every time that Cardiff change their tactics up to fight them. But a little bit of delay because we lost the basketball, but our official has found it once again. Great stuff from David Kingstone, Francis Kemerick and Mig Goodwin, our officials this afternoon on court. All air on the end of that basket as picks up the ball there, looking to bring it up court once more. East London now in front of a capacity crowd, done really well to promote the game in this region. East London Phoenix, lovely stuff there once again, and Conroy with another basket.
Yep, there's a reason that she's averaging 25 points a game this season, and that is the perfect end to the half for East London Phoenix.
Yeah, and it's been a really impressive half for the likes of Conroy. She has been one of the standout players, all the play going through her, especially on those transitions, just darts up the court and finds space somehow every single time. Really impressive from Conroy. Also Mahaffey as well, she's been impressive on the outside for when Conroy is being covered. She's there with a presence, and she's only really seen action in the second half of the second quarter and the first part of the first quarter, and she's really been efficient throughout the game.
Incredibly efficient. She's 4 from 6 so far, and that's what you want from those players who are coming in and out of the game, just coming in, knocking down their shots when they're asked to. That's exactly what McAfee's done that half. Really impressed with her.
So at half-time then, East London Phoenix doing pretty well here, 41 to Cardiff's 26. Cardiff though, still there, still a good presence from them. The likes of Jade Atkin in that defensive zone, impressive all afternoon long, including this player as well, Maddie Martin. Just every time she gets on the court, touches that ball, if you give her space, she doesn't think about it, it just naturally seems to go in the basket.
Yeah, they've got some really natural shooters out there, the likes of mine, as you say. Blease has been a danger all half long, 6 from 10 for her, 12 points at the half. She's been the key scorer for Cardiff here. And also, I was surprised not to see a bit more of Leah Evans, later in the game. She played the entirety of that first quarter. We didn't see so much of her in the second quarter, and I wonder why, because she was really finding ways to cut through that Phoenix defence, so I wouldn't be surprised to see her start this second half.
Yeah, you know what, it's almost in that first quarter that Cardiff seemed to link the defence with the attack, but then in the second quarter they had the attack and defensive game down, but almost lost that transition, and that's where Leah Evans is most effective, is bringing the other players together. So hopefully see her in this second half as well, as we have our highlights on the screen at the moment. And it's been impressive all afternoon long. Of course, earlier on today we did catch up with some of the players of both East London and Cardiff Met, and we'll hear what they have to say now. Thank you so much for your time ahead of a really important game, it has to be said, the final game for East London as we head into those playoffs. How's the squad feeling at the moment?
The squad, we've come together really well, and today for the first time we've got everyone in the gym. We've welcomed back Fee for the first time, which is just amazing for her to be able to come and play, and yeah, everyone's together, ready to go.
And of course it is the curtain closer before those playoffs, but this has been the first ever season. It's been iconic to see the game grow in such a short space of time. How have you found that personally?
Yeah, it's been great to develop the women's game, and each of the teams has developed, and you can see that throughout the season. Yeah, it would be good to see come 2 weeks' time and playoffs, what happens with everyone coming together.
And I'm sure today more is about finishing strong for those playoffs, arguably more than a result in a way.
Yeah, it's just about the team coming together, practicing things, and we know that likelihood is the teams have kind of been decided, and we'll be facing Cardiff in that semi-final. So yeah, today is just sort of sorting out those little tweaks and getting ready for that semi-final game.
And how has it been for you this season to compete at such a Premier level, in a way, in front of capacity crowds all the time? We're expecting another one here today at SportsDock. That must be amazing to be a part of that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's just been great having the crowds, and that's what's different from maybe the mixed National League. We play at the top level in that, but we don't get the crowds in the same way as you get here. And it's and having broadcast on TV too. It's just amazing to have all those different people being able to see the sport for the first time, and maybe in a few years' time we'll see those people coming through and building the game, which is...
Well, let's look at today's game. What are those key things that we should be looking out for from both sides, in your opinion, as someone on the courts?
Yeah, I think both teams play quite like a fast-paced game. Cardiff have got a few sort of strong big players that will look to get inside and score. And yeah, for us it's just about utilising all of our team and working together and playing in transition and scoring those points and where we need to.
Well, Beth, thank you so much for your time and good luck for today.
Great, thank you.
So, Ella, a huge day in the Women's Premier League. It only feels like 2 minutes ago that we were kicking off in this same venue.
Absolutely. We started our first game of the season in this venue, and that was only January, but so much has happened in that time that it just feels like we've gone full circle now. And yeah, big game today, so we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, the final normal game of the season for you guys ahead of those playoffs. It's about finishing strong today.
Definitely. I think both teams have progressed so well throughout the season. We've learned a lot, definitely. We've come together as a team. We are way more cohesive than we were. So to be finishing on a high would just be the cherry on the top of the cake, really. So.
And for someone of your calibre, your experience in the game, how amazing has it been to see just this whole setup? Women's Premier League is taking the nation by storm, some would say.
Absolutely. It's been huge, and it's such an honour to be able to be a part of it and play in it. It's been a huge experience. I've learned a lot. I think even throughout my career I've never played in such a professional league like this, so to have that opportunity and to have regular games and to play with the youth, the talent coming through in the future is an amazing opportunity.
And that's what Cardiff Met has always been about, developing those pathways for younger talent to come through and kind of play alongside experienced members of the roster like yourself. So to kind of have that Cardiff Met in this league, it was just a match made in heaven in a way.
Absolutely. I think we are definitely the youth of the whole season and the whole league. I feel a bit like the granny, because I feel like, although I'm only 27, I'm definitely one of the older members of the team, but actually they're really lovely girls and they've got so much potential that they deserve to play in a league like this, and it'll be a really good development for them.
Well, you're certainly not the granny in the dressing room, not at all. But you have played at that international level, you've seen so much success. How is that similar and almost different as well to the Premier League itself?
It's good. I mean, international success, it helps you deal with pressure, it helps you deal with those intense key moments in games. And so we will encounter them in this Premier League. We'll probably encounter them today. So having had that experience has helped me deal with that in games like today.
So, of course, we're expecting a capacity crowd here at SportsDock. I think there's like a family festival going on today. That's going to be amazing to play in front of a crowd like that, right?
Absolutely, very exciting. It always lifts the whole atmosphere when you're VD. And it's a challenge for us because we're playing against the home team at the moment. But it will be a really good atmosphere, and it just really boosts you on court.
So before we let you go, just a quick preview to the match itself. What can we expect to see from Cardiff Met this afternoon?
Oh, you can expect to see pace, you can expect to see passion, and just we'll have a lot of fun as well. We are lacking a few players today, but I don't think that's going to stop us. Like, we're ready, and we're ready to do this.
Well, thank you for your time, and a massive good luck today.
Thank you.
Inspire Generation is a programme that's been funded by Sport England and the National Lottery, and it's about bringing the sport of wheelchair basketball to local people in their local communities. So the Community Activators have been delivering sessions of an inclusive programme to be able to introduce the sport to new participants who have never played wheelchair basketball before. Wheelchair basketball is an amazing, fast-paced, exciting sport, which is just a leveller.
It gets able-bodied people and disabled people together on a level playing field, and it's just such an amazing sport that I think everyone should try it.
You can just jump in a chair for the first time, you can jump in a chair for the 10th time, whatever that may be, and just being able to enjoy the sport in an inclusive, fun and safe environment. So if you're considering playing wheelchair basketball for the first time, I'd suggest you get onto inspiregeneration.com, find where your local sessions are, come along, don't worry about the equipment, it'll all be there. Don't worry about the coaching, the best coaches will be there. Just come, have a good time in a fun, safe environment and play this amazing, inclusive sport of wheelchair basketball.
And with Sweet Caroline blaring in the background, we're back at the SportsDock in London for East London Phoenix taking on Cardiff Met Archers, 41-26, the final game in the normal season of Women's Premier League action in the wheelchair basketball, ahead of those playoffs next month on the 14th and 15th of May. Of course, these two sides in the league at the moment as it stands, they would meet each other. Yeah, it's favourable that they will as well in the playoffs. So wanting to get that mental advantage with a win here, heading into those finals and hopefully reaching the final itself on that weekend as well. I'm joined in the commentary booth alongside me, Mr. Jack Perry of the GB Senior Men's side, London Titan as well. I believe the 4th top point scorer in your league as well, Jack. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, well, you've got the stats, so I'll take your word for it. We've had a good season at London Titan so far. Another game tomorrow where, in fact, Beth Wheeler, who's on court now for East London Phoenix, will be playing alongside me. So that's a player I'm very familiar with. I know how good a shooter she is, and she demonstrated that all half long. So I'm sure she'll be getting a shooting touch, hopefully, for our game tomorrow as well.
Yeah, a big thank you to you as well at home joining us on BBC Sport here for our live stream. We've been streaming games of this first ever Women's Premier League season, well, all season long, to be honest with you, and it really is a landmark moment. The first league of its type here in the UK, one of the first in the world as well, providing that representation, that encouragement. It's a real game changer, and actually providing those pathway opportunities for younger players to come through the sport and play alongside some of these international players, Jack. It's incredible to see.
It's really good, and the other part of the programme, which hopefully going forward will progress the game in a big way, is that we might see some other international players come and study at the different universities while playing for these Premier League teams. So that'll just raise the standard again, because a lot of players in the wheelchair basketball game, particularly on the men's side, play professionally across Europe, and what GB are trying to introduce here is a professional league in England, which has never been done before. So it is a real landmark, and hopefully the result of that will be encouraging players from around the world to come and study at these universities and play in the Women's Premier League, and just take that level up once more and give those players who haven't got the most experience a chance to play alongside these senior internationals and multiple-time Paralympians.
Absolutely, and the season itself, I mean, we started it pretty much up in August, and it's been amazing to see the phenomenal growth already. Of course, the very final game of the season later today here on BBC Sport as well. Do make sure to join us for Loughborough taking on Worcester. That's top of the table versus bottom of the table. Loughborough undefeated at the moment, heading into those playoffs. But Worcester, one of those plucky sides throughout the season. They pushed Cardiff all the way, and they've actually do have a win over East London as well. So it's all to play for between these four sides as we head into those finals come May. So we're back to the action here, though, between East London and Cardiff. And this exact fixture, in this exact location, was the round one game. That time round, East London with a 60-36 win over Cardiff. They met again in round 6, where Cardiff had a 63-43 win over East London. Two sides that pretty much are evenly matched. Even when you look over the sheet here, it's a real nice blend of experience of international players, but also young up-and-comer all-stars.
Players are putting on a show for those watching on at home today.
Well, I actually caught up earlier on with the head coach of East London Phoenix, Michael, and he was talking about how the team here and its brand and the organisation have grown in such a short space of time that today they've been able to hold a fan festival, allowing those who maybe haven't been introduced to the sport yet come and see it for themselves. But as a player yourself with international experience, what can we see from these two sides in the second half? What do they need to do more of? What do they need to do less of?
Well, I think what Cardiff will be looking to do to get back into the game is they'll need to keep London out of the key. You'll see on the stats that they've got 30 of their 41 points inside the key, and that is just too high a percentage, so they'll need to keep them out of that key area.
So underway once again, straight out the gate with a huge three. Wow! Well, what a statement of intent from Beth Wheeler. Incredible!
Beth Wheeler is an international standard shooter, and she shows it again there. It's just the purest shooting stroke. She doesn't even think about it. Bang, left her hands, 2 from 2, 3-point range.
Incredible, and it was amazing to see as well. Leah Evans back on court was almost creating the basket there for Cardiff. Leah Evans really impressive in that first quarter. She is going to be crucial if Cardiff are going to get back in this one.
Absolutely.
Nice basket there for East London once again. Created that space, and this is exactly what they were doing all first half, is creating those gaps, just allowing for those easy layups, and that's nicely finished by Curran Brown.
Again, it's those role players for London. First shot of the game, there. First shot of the game, no nerves, bang, knocks it down. And that's what the London role players have done so far to help build this lead.
And with a capacity crowd behind them as well, giving them the confidence to try and pull off those shots. And again, I really love Maddie Martin, the bravery there of, so you've got 2 shots, I'm going to go for this big time 3 myself. Didn't quite happen that time, but even to attempt it, so brave for such a young player.
Absolutely. I think we've got a 3-second call, I think, there. Yeah, so the players have 3 seconds once they've entered that key area the box shape underneath the basket if you're not familiar with it. Once you're in there, you've got 3 seconds to get in and then out again, and Amy just stayed too long in there, so the ref called the 3-second violation.
So you got the 3 seconds, but then also what we've seen in this game a few times, and it's that tough D of both sides, that 24 clock violation. You have 24 seconds to get from your baseline to the basket and hopefully get back yourself some points.
Definitely, and we see Jade Atkin there just beating her defender on the baseline with her excellent share skills and finishing off glass.
And once again, there is space for East London to exploit. Cardiff really need to wake up for these gaps that there are in the defence. And arguably, do they know those gaps there? Are they covering those international players, allowing for some of these young upsparks to get in and really punish?
Yeah, that's the thing. Just too worried about Conroy with the ball they were there, and Freya Levy able to convert from the top of the key. And we see at the other end, Leah Evans, who was so dangerous in that first quarter, again just cutting through the defence with her chair skills. Oh, and a miss from Wheeler under the basket there. She'd expect to finish that off.
So Leah Evans now looking to bring it up court for Cardiff, a really important player for them. She was inspired by the Olympics in 2012, and here in the Women's Premier League sets up nicely for Jade Atkin, another experienced member of Team GB as well. Amazing to have these all-star players in the Women's Premier League mixed with the next generation at the same time. And as you said at halftime as well, Jack, hopefully can entice some of those other internationals to come and join us and join the party that is the Women's Premier League here in Britain. As we're just looking to get underway once again for Cardiff from their baseline, looking to bring it up court through that lady again, Leah Evans, who just is so silky smooth across the court. It's beautiful to see.
She's so effortless with the ball in her hands.
It's almost like a dance, isn't it, with her on the ball?
Yeah, she makes it look so easy, and let me tell you, it really isn't. It's a tough pass for Ella Beaumont to take there. So Ella Beaumont's a 1-point player, which means that her balance is less than that of someone like Jade Atkin, who's a 4.5. So when you're passing to a player under pressure in that kind of scenario, you've got to make sure that the pass is bang on the money, and that one wasn't quite.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Each of these players have a rating somewhat, Jack, and allowing of certain amounts on the court. Can you talk us through that quickly?
Of course, so there's a classification system which involves all 5 players on court have to add up to 14.5 points. Each player is scored from 1 until 5 in this case. 5 is an able-bodied player. And you can be rated as a half-point player as well, so it'd be 1.5, 2, 2.5, and those 5 players on court have to add up to 14.5. So it's up to the coaches to get that mix of classifications right on court.
Doesn't quite fall for Cardiff that time round.
Blease couldn't quite pick up where she left off in that first half, but I love the confidence. She'll take that over and over.
She's going to go coast to coast all the way. And again, Amy Conroy, just her, whenever she's got the ball, it's somehow attracted to the basket every time.
She just burnt past Evans there, and Evans has got brilliant chair skills as well, so that just shows you the level of speed and skill that Amy Conroy has to just burn past her and finish off.
And Evans there was under pressure from 2 players, but still managed to pull off the pass and end up in the hands of Atkin, but couldn't quite punish that time round. But it's that experience shining through. She's got 2 players on her, still pulls off the pass.
Yeah, brilliant from Evans there.
East London once again now through Brown, looks to set up, but nicely blocked and sorted out by Cardiff. Atkin using that defensive range she has to just get the ball back with Evans once again. It skirts around the outside to Blease, who had an incredible shooting form in that first half. Goes up once again, Cardiff. Just skims over the top from Evans, unlucky for it to not fall there as Conroy picks up once again, looking to set up her teammate in the form of Levy. Under pressure, nicely dealt with on that defensive pass there. And East London got themselves just outside the key here, into space. This could be dangerous for Conroy once more. And that was some beautiful passing all the way from their defensive zone to that attacking zone under the basket. Brilliantly worked there by East London.
Yeah, brilliant passing, and Cardiff were doing a good job putting pressure on the ball, but again, Phoenix just working off the ball and finding a way to get a good look at the basket.
Whips in and drops down for Evans on the 2 for Cardiff. And East London looking to bring it up once again. Finds that pass and just almost like a magnet to Conroy's hands there. She's just such a towering presence. Almost arguably went there for the rebound, but somehow ended up with the pass.
And you can see it's just Amy's speed and chair skills that she can get into the key. She's tough to stop. I mean, I've tried to defend her on multiple occasions and she's beaten me, and just showing that once she's under the basket, she's not going to miss.
It's almost like you can have a plan for your defensive zone for Amy, but then she just almost appears out of nowhere, and suddenly there she is for a layup. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Amy's been part of the GB program for years now. She's a 3-time Paralympian, and she works incredibly hard on her strength and conditioning program. And you can see that on court here. That just helps her power, her speed to burn past those players. And then once she's inside, just showing that consistency and composure to finish off underneath the basket.
And that's why she's such a key player for East London Phoenix. One of the sides in the first ever Parasport professional league in the UK. East London Phoenix, Cardiff Met Archers, Worcester Wolves and Loughborough Lightning as well. 4 setups really that have such good sporting programmes outside of wheelchair basketball. It was natural to have them involved with us here in the Women's Premier League as well, as we get back underway once again. The final day of the normal season ahead of those playoffs on the 14th and 15th of May. We'll be back here on BBC Sport as well. Please do join us once again. And thank you for joining us today on your bank holiday weekend. Having us with the barbecue at the same time, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely barbecue weather today. And basketball weather, that's what's most important here.
Absolutely, yeah, got the outdoor court going, I say.
Definitely.
This is nice, straight in, lovely stuff, and that's exactly what Coach Guntrip would be wanting of Atkin. Yes, you're doing a great defensive job, but let's get you underneath the iron and let's get you betting into those layups ourselves.
Yeah, perfect. Straight out of a timeout, you want to score straight away, and that's what they've done. Hopefully they can use that momentum now and cut into this big lead that Phoenix have built so far.
Conroy just weaving in and out there of the transition zone. Looking to find a way through. She's just so towering, isn't she? How do you stop a pass from her? That's what I'm asking. Nicely here done by East London. That was really good to kind of be able to almost reverse the play to get herself in position.
It's a little post move. That's just showing her experience. It's just getting your, if you can get your wheel just in the right place on your defender's wheel, you can use it to just turn them away and beat your defender by reversing around them, and Wheeler showing that can lead to easy points there.
Yeah, Beth Wheeler with the kind of knowledge of her area, her space around her, then to be able to do that bravery. That comes with experience, doesn't it? Knowing where you are in the play without actually looking around you, if that makes sense.
And it's knowing your chair inside and out. And you might not notice it watching this game, but those players all know their individual wheelchairs inside and out, and they know exactly how much pressure to put on the wheel at different times in order to turn their chair. They can be so sensitive, but when you've got a chair that fits you perfectly, you can really use it to your advantage, as Beth Wheeler does again there, but can't finish off this time.
That was a really nice build-up play there by East London once again, but Cardiff just enough to put off Wheeler.
Some real physicality there on defense. I love that from McAfee.
It was great to see the two veteran players one-on-one with each other there, but building up the play here from Tillman.
Oh, brilliant pass, Tillman. And finished by Conroy. Great pass from Fee Tillman. I don't know how she managed to get it. She had her back to Amy Conroy there, and she managed to get it there.
Yeah,
smiling to herself, she comes back down court. Enjoyed that one a lot.
I'm sure we'll get that on the highlight reel at some point in the game. I just want to see it on the highlight reel to work out how she did that, to be honest with you.
Fantastic pass.
Evans now, long range 2, doesn't fall.
And Tillman on the boards there, doing it all at the moment.
All over the shop. Third quarter, Tillman quarter, I say, as we get things up court once again. And it's that same play that we have seen time and time again. Wheeler behind the opposition line and just getting that layup. It didn't quite fall that time round, but it's almost a carbon copy of what we've seen so far.
Yeah, they're just finding it easy in transition. And again, McAfee with another steal. Really impressed with her on the defensive end this quarter so far.
And again, it's those two connecting, Wheeler and Conroy. Conroy was getting herself in position for that rebound. Couldn't quite fall to her, but
McAfee again.
Still London.
And a foul called on her shot as well. McAfee has just been relentless here, just even with a lead of 24 points. She is just hounding those Cardiff players.
Just to have that hunger for it as well, as you say, with that lead, to keep on going, keep that strategy together. And yeah, East London just doing incredible here as we see a substitution. The lady who's done amazing so far, Amy Conroy, heading to the bench. Just points galore from her this afternoon. Substitution there, as we see on the court now, coming on for London, Nick Terrell.
Yeah, Conroy's earned that break, I think. She's got 20 points so far, 10 from 15 from the field in just 27 minutes. So she takes a well-deserved break as Nick Terrell comes in.
Yeah, Wheeler on the line, misses her first, got another one to come. Second one's good, all net. And we'll see now. What I'm intrigued to see is how London play without Conroy on the court. The first time she's been off the court all game long. Pretty sizable lead so far for London, but it'll be quite interesting to see how their tactics change this, especially with a player like this, Maddie Martin, where she doesn't need encouraging to shoot.
No, and Coach Hanson Morris will be looking to see how his team performs, and this is a chance for their other players to show that they deserve more minutes on court in those playoff finals mid-May.
Evans doesn't quite pick up the basket there, but nicely picked up with the
There we
rebound
go.
by Atkin, but yeah, loses the ball straight away.
Instant impact from Nick Terrell, showing what she can do straight away. Just quick hands in there. Jade Atkin thought she had that rebound, looking for the shot, but Terrell, nice hands there to force the turnover.
Yeah, really sneaky. I think, to be honest, even I thought she had the shot off there, but Nick Terrell, amazing, and shoots up.
Wheeler again looking for the three. Like I said before, she told me she was going to shoot threes today. She was feeling it today, and she splashed a couple, and she's looking for even more.
Yeah, Maddie Martin just loses out the ball there, but pretty impressive individual performances from Cardiff this afternoon in this game, as we are taking things from the sideline from the experienced Leah Evans. Made her debut for the senior side at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. Of course, gold at the Under-25 World Cup in Beijing as well, back in 2015.
Really naturally talented player, Evans. You just see the way she moves in her chair and holds the ball.
Yeah, as we said all game long, time and time again, just a pleasure to watch. And that was really nice by Cardiff there. Made the block for her to allow for Jade Atkin to shoot. Nicely done by Neve Watson.
Yeah, and it's good to point out the work of players like Neve Watson. You might not see the ball in her hands too often, but what she does away from the ball brilliantly is create space for players like Atkin and Evans, and they wouldn't be able to score the points they do without the work of Watson.
And I find you find that more in wheelchair basketball, more than any other sport really, is that tactical play off the ball, off what is currently being highlighted, and the work that goes on around it. And a pure example is that basket right there. The blocking there was by East London to allow that avenue to just allow her to glide through and pull the two off is exactly what we're talking about with wheelchair basketball, the tactics around the ball.
Yeah, and Wheeler just using her speed to burst through the key, finish off with a lovely little finger roll. And Cardiff are just pushing it a little bit too much here. We've got 4 seconds left here. Can they get a shot off? We'll see.
Goes up.
Not quite.
Doesn't quite land it. And that's the end of your third. And that was a really quick third from both these sides. Really went all guns blazing. But at the end of the third quarter, 34 Cardiff, 61 East London. Jack, there was some really nice bits of play in that game.
Yeah, and East London just kind of took it away from Cardiff in that quarter. They've really built out a huge lead here. So Cardiff will be taking this time between quarters to just have a chat. They don't want to get their heads down too much. They need to come out early in this fourth, get stops, start scoring, and hopefully cut into this big Phoenix lead. But Phoenix will be feeling confident of getting the win as things stand.
As you see on the highlights here, just again and again and again, this East London play of just allowing Cardiff to draw out, make that defence, and then finding the gap every time, and a few big threes as well. But Cardiff, this was nice, using Jade Atkin to what she does best, just underneath that basket, allowing the ball to drop over to her and get the two. But again, look at the speed of Conroy, creating an opportunity for herself to bag a two that time round for East London. And it really has been that all game long, that quick transition. We'll see it again here, just darts through, finds a gap, and there's the other attacking presence from East London as well. Wheeler just being gritty under the basket, as is Atkin for Cardiff as well. Leah Evans now, the experience that came through. This was a nice basket as well. Just kind of almost acted as if the defence from East London wasn't there for a moment.
Yeah, there's been some brilliant play on show here, and I think what has been the difference for Phoenix is just that speed that they've got in transition with Wheeler and Conroy. We've said it all game, but you can see that they've managed to score 13 points from turnovers. So they've managed to get steals and then very quickly go up the other end and convert those turnovers from Cardiff into points.
And 13, that's such a huge amount just to get from turnovers itself. That is a game-winning strategy right there. If you can get 13 points from turnovers, well,
exactly.
That other team needs a hell of an answer in another part of their tactics, because that is hard to play against.
It is, and you compare that to Cardiff's just 4 points from turnovers for them, so that is quite a difference.
So we get underway once again. Leah Evans now. A big contribution from her needed in this fourth. Final game of the Premier League season as we head in towards those playoffs. Goes up, nicely done, all net from Leah Evans there. As we bring things back once again. East London now bringing it up court with their fast transition. Just to the outside here, just taking their time somewhat.
Find Beth Wheeler on the wing, she'll shoot that. And she'll make it. They just have to be more aware of Beth Wheeler. We've seen her just knock down every open shot she's had in this game, and yet she's still getting open looks. Cardiff have really got to lock her down for this fourth quarter if they've got any hope of getting back into this.
They've just got to get that strong shirt back in place, and this lady's going to be key to it. Jade Atkins shoots for two. Bit too much on that one though. As McAfee, who I've been really impressed with this game, McAfee. Just playing beyond her years, really nice to see. Brings it all the way up court, looks quickly for someone to pass in. She had three players on her, pulled off the pass. Not quite the basket though, picks up their own rebound though. You cannot allow your player to pick up their own rebound.
No, second chance points are a coach's worst nightmare. You just have to grab that rebound. You don't want the opposing team to be able to take more than one shot on one offense. You want to grab that ball and get up the other end.
Absolutely, as Cardiff once again now through Atkin. It just seems all the plays going through her, but just not very effective at the moment because of the East London defence around her. But Cardiff need to find another option. That's, I think, one of the keys to the position we find ourselves in with East London. There seems to be a plan B, C and D if plan A doesn't work, whereas Cardiff just trying to find their way through and negotiate a way to get that basket.
Yeah, Atkin just forcing things a little here. She knows that she has to take control of this game somehow, and she's got 10 points so far, but just 5 from 17 from the field, so she's struggling to find that shooting stroke a little bit here.
East London now just find their way through, finds that gap. A little bit too much sizzle on the end of that one though.
Yeah, we've bit of an airball from McAfee there. She smiles to herself. She can afford to because she's been brilliant so far this game.
So Cardiff now from their baseline start us off once more through Maddie Martin and Leah Evans. It's almost like seeing the current and then the future play together at the same time, which is exactly what it is. And Evans straight up, no one picked her. No one picked her, and that is what Cardiff have been missing all game long. We have seen that time and time again from London, but Cardiff, they need to do more of exactly what they just did there.
Yeah.
Using that experience of Evans just to glide through.
Evans, like I said before, she can just beat players one-on-one. It's a skill that's so valuable in the sport of wheelchair basketball. And one from Beth Wheeler. Even with the contact, she catches and finishes, and she'll have a chance for 3 points.
Yeah, the spinneroonie on the two there.
She's such a natural shooter. I mean, I first saw her play quite a few years ago now, and I was just shocked by quite how natural her shooting stroke is here. It's just as the ball comes off her fingers, you'll see her extend that perfect backspin on the ball. Obviously, she misses that just as I'm complimenting her shooting stroke, but she's shown it all game so far.
You set her up perfectly there, though, Jack.
I know. Come on, Wheeler. You've got to make that if I'm bigging you up.
Right, we're back at the way. Once again, East London steals quickly. Doesn't even allow Cardiff to develop that play. And once again, behind enemy lines here, McAfee. A little bit too much on it, though.
Now, she might have missed that shot there, but I like that from McAfee. A lot of young players will just drive straight to the basket and just chuck up any kind of shot there. But she took her time, a little bounce stop underneath the basket, took her time. Unfortunately, couldn't convert, but it's the right idea from McAfee there.
And you know what? It's one of those things as well with young players. I've seen it where they go up to the basket and almost wait for the rest of their team to arrive when they're clearly open for their two, and the rest of your team's going to be there by the time there's a chance for a rebound to just shoot. So actually that was really nice from McAfee there. But we have a timeout here as the scores currently stand 67 East London, 38 Cardiff. Two of these sides actually, they're very evenly matched in the league at the moment. Loughborough first position, East London second, Cardiff third, and Worcester fourth there as well. Still plenty to play for as we head into those playoffs come the 14th and 15th of May here at the SportsDock once again in London. Going to be a big weekend. Jack, you're going to be there, hopefully.
I will be, yeah, I will be there. I'll be playing myself and enjoying the games while I'm not playing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing who emerges as the champion of the first season of the Women's Premier League, because it's been so exciting all season long, and I know everyone in the sport of wheelchair basketball has been glued to this and is just very excited to see how things finish at the end of the season.
And you know what, if you've just discovered wheelchair basketball for the first time today and you're feeling inspired yourself, why not find a local team that you can be part of as well? Head over to britishwheelchairbasketball.co.uk. You can find your local team there. You can find out more about the Women's Premier League as well. And actually, maybe come and join us for those playoffs in London. Yeah,
definitely. Come and have a watch. And it's important to say that you actually don't have to have a disability to get yourself involved here. If you like what you see and you want to just come and have a go, get yourself involved. I mean, Alice Conroy's just come on court here. She's a 5-point player, which means she's able-bodied, the sister of Amy Conroy. So it's a really inclusive sport, and that's what I love so much about it, is everyone can just get involved.
And that's you look at some of these players on the court now, doesn't quite land, but you look at some of these players on the court, and some of these players have been inspired by their fellow teammates to take up the sport, or even from the Paralympics, whether that be Rio, London, Beijing, and that's why they're here. So you never know, it could be someone watching the stream right now, Jack, that joins us in the future.
Yeah, future Paralympians watching on, quite possibly.
East London really still glued to the ball. Cardiff cannot be pleased with this defensive here. How are East London still got the ball after taking their chances time and time again, but out of time of the shot clock. Ooh. Cardiff rectifying the situation there very nicely indeed. Got those blocks in at the end.
Almost got the shot off in time. Amy did well to finish, but 24-second violation, unfortunately for her.
Leah Evans now bringing up court for Cardiff.
Amy not giving her any space there, not allowing her to dart through the key as she's done so well.
But she just still looks so calm under pressure, Jack. It was almost as if Amy wasn't there and she was planning to pass anyway.
Yeah, she makes it look easy.
Cardiff straight up. Nice. Great stuff there from Ganley. Represented Wales at the school games all the way from 2018 to last year, 2021, and hopefully vying for a place for the Commonwealth Wales team.
And that's her first 2 points of the game. Brilliant from her to knock down that shot from distance.
Conroy under pressure once again, all the way to the outside, all rim on the end of that. Cardiff pick up the rebound, nicely done this time, looking to go forward with numbers as London look to kind of structure themselves to deal with this attacking play. Cardiff still doing really well though, just coming straight up, not being phased by this attacking play at the moment, right underneath the basket. It was really nicely worked, but couldn't quite get back enough to get it over and up into the basket. London now.
Tough finish, that one.
The setup though was all there. Looked really nice from Cardiff actually.
Some nice pick and roll play on the side of the key.
London now. Conroy.
The two sisters working together on the wing. Conroy looks to knock down the shot as she can. She's got that range as well, using her sister as a screen, getting that space.
And this is exactly what we were saying earlier about wheelchair basketball as a sport in general. Really good stuff that you will see off the ball like that, where Conroy's sister almost acting as a shield, a screen to allow her to pull off that shot. And there's no one with her, so in a way it's almost like having an empty shot with no one in front of you when you're being protected by your teammate.
It won't go down as an assist on the stats, but that's as good as an assist, is providing a screen for your teammate.
So it comes forward once again. East London finding a way behind that back line of Cardiff again, somehow managing to do it with their quick transition throughout this match. And that is a timeout called. Cardiff have really struggled to deal with that from East London this afternoon.
Yeah, Coach Guntrip not happy there. You can see he's he won't be pleased that that transition has just continued throughout the game. His team have just got to get back a bit quicker and try their best to stop the likes of Wheeler and Conroy scoring layups in transition, because Wheeler just hasn't stopped here. That's 28 points for her in just 32 minutes, 13 from 26 from the field, just showing her class here.
It's that speed, isn't it, of the transition, and again what we were saying about almost creating those shields to just allow her to glide through and get those easy layups every time. You take those away, you take those transitions away, and this is a lot more of a close score than it looks at the moment. Cardiff 40, East London Phoenix 71, just over 4 on the clock here. The final day of the Women's Premier League season ahead of those playoffs come May. And of course later on today here on BBC Sport, do join us as Loughborough take over the stream. They'll be taking on Worcester Wolves. Will the undefeated streak of Loughborough come to an end ahead of playoff season? We'll find out, and hopefully you can join us as well, continuing your glorious bank holiday with us here on BBC Sport. I'm joined alongside GB International Jack Perry. He'll be here for those playoffs as well, representing London Titans, currently I believe 4th overall point scorer in your league, Jack. Very impressive indeed, and top rebounder as well, averaging, if you didn't know already, about 13.8 rebounds a game, Jack.
I can't say I've counted every single one, but I will absolutely take your word for it.
Leah Evans gliding in, making it look easy, and that's what she does. Such a beautiful play from her. It is like watching poetry in motion on the court when she's there, the way she glides around.
Yeah, she's got a brilliant action as well. The way she extends up to finger roll that off the glass, it's beautiful to watch.
East London up open on their own and powered into the basket there. No one can catch her, and she's enjoying that one. Great basket there for East London. Amazing stuff from Libby Phillips.
That was Fee Tillman, actually. She's been battling an illness for a long time now, so it's great to see her back on court, and I think that's quite why the celebrations from the Phoenix bench were so exuberant there. Really, really enjoy seeing Tillman doing well out on the court.
Yeah, Tillman, a really experienced player in her own right, captain of the East London Phoenix, and was representing the University of Brighton back in the 90s, and has always been a constant in the international Great British side. So amazing for her to get a basket there. Great stuff to see here in London.
And she is just a brilliant presence off the court. Honestly, one of the nicest people in the sport. It's no surprise to me that she's captain, because I can see that she will just help that dressing room connect and get on, and that will result in better performances, as it does in any sport.
And that's it. And you just saw it there. She could have gone for the basket, but she didn't. And she passed it to a lesser experienced player than herself. Okay, she didn't get the basket. It ended up being with Conroy once again.
Yep.
But actually, her doing that is promoting those players within the dressing room as well.
And I just saw her fist pump as that one went down, just celebrating her teammates scoring just as much as her own baskets. You really love to see that.
Part of that presence in the dressing room, as is this lady Evans for Cardiff Met. And you saw the passing there, recognising Martin was in a better position, even though she had the two towering East London players in front of her. Pulls off another huge range shot.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be beyond Cardiff's reach now. But it's nice to see Martin still knocking down those shots from outside.
Yeah, great stuff from Martin this afternoon. Really been impressed with her. The young player really has played with no fear, to be honest with you. And Evans bringing it up court for Cardiff, finds the spare lady on the outside in Atkin. Adele Atkin that time round, couldn't quite land it though herself, with European and World Championship experience on international level. Maybe not so much as Jade, but Adele the same, creating that career and legacy for herself.
Yeah, a couple of talented sisters there.
And this is another one of them, of their own sisters, East London. Conroy couldn't quite land it that time, of the Conroy sisters on the court. Alice Conroy, in her rookie season at the moment in wheelchair basketball. She has come up through the British Wheelchair Basketball Inspire a Generation initiative. And I think maybe her sister has lent the odd words of advice to her as well.
Yeah, I'm sure Amy Conroy has been helping her out, giving her a few tips here and there, and that's resulted in what looks like a big win for Phoenix today.
Yeah, we've seen a full squad rotation for the Phoenix as well. Some of those less experienced players on the court now, some of those younger up-and-comers, those ones that are going to be looking to grow as the Premier League grows at the same time on the court now to see the game out as we get into those final few moments. So as we do head into those final few minutes, Jack, you're the guy with all the points this afternoon. We've seen some really impressive play. It's a nice setup there from East London. Who for you has been your player of the match?
Well, there's been a couple of standout players in this win for East London Phoenix, Amy Conroy and Beth Wheeler. I think for me it's going to have to go to Beth Wheeler, top scoring with 28 points. We've seen her knock down 2 brilliant 3-pointers, and her and Conroy, either one could have taken it, but today, as top scorer, I'm going to give it to Beth Wheeler.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about Amy Conroy all game long, but Beth Wheeler arguably has done more of that work that you haven't seen off the ball. And I think that's really played itself, as well as those 3-pointers. Absolutely incredible from her this afternoon. Our player of the match then, Beth Wheeler from East London Phoenix. Brilliant stuff from her this afternoon.
Yep, and it looks like it'll be a comfortable win here. 30-point margin. East London Phoenix really just laying down a marker for those playoffs that will be coming up in mid-May.
And of course, those playoffs right here again at the SportsDock, and that could really play into East London Phoenix's hands when we get there in a few weeks' time. A bit of a break now for them. They're going to be going back to the training court, getting things together, ready for those playoffs, where probably looks like these two teams will meet once again. And this is amazing to see. If you look on the side of the court at the moment, absolutely amazing from head coach of East London Phoenix, still playing for that win, still playing for those points as if it's a 1-point game.
Yeah, he's living every second, but this will be a big win for Phoenix.
And these players are just going to let that clock drag out. And that is the final buzzer at the end of this game then. Cardiff Met Archers 46, East London Phoenix 75 for what has been a landmark afternoon here in the Women's Premier League between these two sides. Both second and third arguably switching places in the table. They've been neck and neck all season long, but it's going to be East London going in with the win towards those playoffs, Jack.
And like we said before the match, that will just be such an important mental boost for them ahead of these playoffs, because they now know that the most recent match between the two sides saw Phoenix emerge victorious, and so you'd have to say they'll be confident of doing the same in the playoffs.
And for Cardiff, I mean, it didn't go their way this afternoon. The plans didn't work. There was aspects and sparks of good stuff in there, but just East London had more on the day. But as we head into those playoffs, what are they going to be thinking as they're getting that coach back?
Well, they won't be too disheartened by this. You know, it's tough to take that loss, but they were without Katie Morrow, who has been a key player for them so far. So the return of her, hopefully, at the playoffs will be a boost. And they have beaten East London Phoenix this season, so they've got that to hold on to going into those playoffs as well. So it's not all doom and gloom for Cardiff, but they'll just have to go away from this, perhaps watch the film back and just see how they could perhaps just stop those key players from Phoenix who scored the majority of their points, Wheeler and Conroy.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Jack, as well. I think that scoreline is a little unkind to Cardiff, if I'm honest with you. 46-75, because a lot of those baskets just came from East London, just dying up the court and being behind enemy lines every single time, and just finding those gaps, taking advantage of those mistakes, which Cardiff arguably didn't do, because East London didn't make that many mistakes.
Yeah, they just struggled to deal with the transition of East London Phoenix. And I think once that lead got to around 20 points, they sensed that it was going to be tough to get back into the match. So they just allowed Phoenix to pull away, and they'll have to just come back and try and come back stronger for the playoffs in May.
And of course, your player of the match as well, number 13 from East London Phoenix, Beth Wheeler. But it could have easily gone to Amy Conroy, though, as you said.
They were both fantastic today. You know, Beth Wheeler's averaging 16 points a game here, and she scored 28 today, so a particularly good performance from her. Conroy with 22, a really strong performance from her, but they just showed their level of international experience and just that level of skill that's just slightly above the rest of the players on court, and that proved to be the difference for Phoenix today.
Yeah, really nice game between these two, and it's been a a nice curtain closer on a really impressive season, allowing those pathway, that gateway for not only inspiring those maybe watching here at SportsDock this afternoon or on BBC Sport as well, or on the many live streams that we have shown of every single game, but also that opportunity for those younger players to stay with the sport and grow as they play alongside these international all-stars.
Definitely, and it's really important to get that exposure as a young player and start to build your game. You're only improved by playing with better players, and also just in front of a crowd like this and to be broadcast across the country. Hopefully there'll be a lot of people who have seen this today and be inspired to get involved themselves, and these franchises will only grow in the future because it's been a brilliant first season for East London Phoenix here and for Cardiff as well.
As they soak up the applause from the adoring crowd, part of the fan festival fun day they have here. So it's been amazing to see such a crowd for such a relatively new side and new league as well. And as you saw in the highlights, there's so many talking points as well, including the likes of Fee Tillman with a huge basket. And that's what we're talking about, those experienced players almost allowing those younger players to just come on through the setup and allow them to grow and prosper, as hopefully the league grows as well, Jack, and we'll head towards those playoffs in a few weeks' time. Going to be a big, big day for wheelchair basketball here in Britain, those playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be a big day. I think as things stand, Loughborough, as you mentioned before, unbeaten, playing later today against Worcester Wolves. They'll be the team to beat. Both these sides will have half an eye on that game later today, I'm sure. And they are the team to beat. But that performance today from Phoenix, you'd have to say they've got a chance. They've got a chance if they get past Cardiff again. It'll be a really, really interesting game if East London end up meeting Loughborough in the final.
So we have a look at the updated Women's Premier League table. Worcester Wolves holding up the rest of the sides at the moment. Cardiff Met Archers now falling to third. East London Phoenix in second, and Loughborough Lightning in first. Of course, Worcester playing Loughborough later today as well, right here on BBC Sport. Make sure to join us as Wolves are at Loughborough in that game. Loughborough looking to continue their undefeated streak. And these sides, that's pretty much how the table's going to be looking as we head into those playoffs as well. These two sides, Cardiff and London, probably meeting once again alongside Wolves meeting Loughborough in the first round of those playoffs as well. Been a really big season for all these four sides, seeing the ladies progress through the setup that has been put together by both these sides. I mean, it's inspiring for the rest of the wheelchair basketball community, really, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. I mean, as part of that wheelchair basketball community, it's great to see the sport just investing in something like this and taking the sport to a bigger stage and allowing more people to see, and allow these players today that we've seen just show their skills on that national stage. And hopefully there's more to come from the Women's Premier League in the future.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, if you feel inspired watching at home, make sure to find a local team near you by heading over to britishwheelchairbasketball.co.uk. And with that, I believe Bethan is courtside with Freya Levy.
Finishing the regular season on a high. Talk to me about that game.
Oh, it's a fantastic finish to the league. 29 points, you cannot argue with that, and that finishes us second, which is where we wanted to be. You know, get a great crossover, and I think that really sets the tone for how we want to go into the playoffs.
And talking about them playoffs, that's happening on the 14th, 15th of May, again here at SportsDock. What's your mindset heading into the national championships now?
Yeah, it's fantastic, especially to have it on our home court. That will give us the boost. We have a fantastic crowd today. Hopefully we can take that through to the weekend. And you know, I think the real testament today is we've got Fee Tillman back in the squad. So we've got a full squad now. I know she's been out unwell, but to have her back has really made the difference. So we'll be able to have her going into playoffs as well. So it's perfect timing, and we're all just so excited to go and make a statement and set the tone.
Congratulations on your win. Good luck for the finals.
Thank you so much.
So it was really nice to hear there the interview with Freya Levy, and actually it's something that I picked up is her saying it's great to make a statement heading into those playoffs, Jack.
Yeah, that's what they'll be looking to do, and I think they've done that today. A big win, setting the tone, like Freya said there. And teams won't want to face them in the playoffs. They've really made a statement today. And as Freya said there, really, really nice to see Fee Tillman back in. I said before that she'd been battling an illness for a while. This is her first game back. They've got a full squad. I think the whole squad are just boosted by that return of their captain, Tillman.
And actually, you know what? It's a full squad and a big win here. That's a real positive atmosphere heading into those playoffs. You couldn't ask for more, really.
No, it's pretty much the perfect performance heading into those playoffs. I can't really see how they could ask for more today. They got all their players involved, everyone knocked down their shots, so just as good as you could ask for, really.
However, Cardiff, we speak of a full squad. Cardiff definitely had depleted numbers today, and I think that showed as we head back to Bethan with coach Tom Guntrip.
Tough end to the season. Talk to me about that one.
Yeah, part of me thinks that we played quite well in long periods of time. Like some of the ball movement we had, I hope people could hear me. Like it was great basketball. We just couldn't finish the shot at the end, and trying to separate result from process is a complicated one. But some of the way we moved the ball and the pick and roll and the extra passes, I thought we were really good for long spells. We just couldn't hit the shots, and defensively we weren't quite as on it as we were hoping to be. So when you're playing well offensively but not hitting the shots, it can feel a little bit tough to get back into the game sometimes. And I think that's probably what happened there.
And you'll be meeting again soon at the National Championship Finals, again here at SportsDock. How will you be kind of preparing for that game now?
Yeah, I think we've got 3 games in the book and 3 very different games, so trying to work out what it's likely to be. Obviously we're a little bit short-handed today, so we'll have some players coming back in that will change the way we do some things. But I think it's about just looking at this, where did it go well, we'll take those, where did it not go so well, work on those, and hopefully only minor adjustments rather than anything whole scale. But it's an unusual one to be able to face them again so soon in the semi-final.
All right, best of luck for the finals.
Thank you very much.
So great to hear from Coach Guntrip there ahead of after a loss to East London Phoenix, and I think something that stood out for me was almost the same what had just been said, really, saying that the finished results actually he felt his team played quite well, which it's hard to argue against. I'm struggling to see what really went wrong. It was just those silly mistakes they made, really.
Yeah, it was a difficult one today. As Coach Guntrip said there, they were missing a couple of players, so he won't be too downhearted. And like he says there, they'll see and analyse what went wrong today, go away and try and improve next time. It's the right attitude to have. I think you just have to chalk this one as a tough loss to take without players. Phoenix played well, just leave that, move on and try and beat them at the playoffs.
Yeah, as Coach Guntrip was saying there, it's all about reviewing what went wrong today and rectifying that ahead of the playoffs. Arguably, you'd rather do it now than in those playoffs, wouldn't you? As we head over to head coach of East London Phoenix, Mr. Michael Hanson-Morris at courtside.
So, rounding off a fantastic inaugural season for the Women's Premier League as you kind of end the regular season. Now we're heading into the finals. Talk to me about that one.
I'm super delighted. Look, that was a proper 1 through 11 performance by everyone. Everyone chipped in, everyone contributed. We got everyone good minutes as well, which is what we wanted to do. Like, we've not been able to utilise that depth enough at times this year. I've probably overplayed people, that's my fault. But you saw today what we can do when we've got everyone together, working together, and that was our best performance of the season by a long way.
And you'll be meeting the Cardiff Met Archers again very soon. How will you be preparing between now and then?
I will go away and study. Like we've got to get better. We've got to look at where we can do. Cardiff have got some big players to bring back. Katie Morris obviously not here. We've got colours that we can cause problems. So we've got to go away and make adjustments and just take it one week at a time. We've got 2 weeks to prep, but we need a good week of practice to build in. But we've got ourselves a great platform to build into that game. And that's what we talked about before the game. Have a platform, have a performance to build for the playoffs, and we've done that.
Well done for the win, and best of luck for the finals.
Thank you, Bethan.
Well, Coach Hanson-Morris certainly in a good mood after that huge win. For going into this game, you thought that scoreline would be a lot closer between these two sides that have been hard to separate in the league.
Yeah, he'll be very pleased with that. Real boost ahead of those playoffs. They've beaten Cardiff, who they'll face in the playoffs, so you can't ask for more than that. He'll be very pleased with his team's performance today. And I was very pleased with the performance of all the players. Really enjoyed the game today.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for joining us, Jack. It's been a pleasure to have you alongside me here in the commentary booth, and a massive good luck to you at that playoffs weekend as well. Hopefully London Titans do well as we see these players face each other once again at the SportsDock come the first week of May. However, here on BBC Sports, that is it from us. However, this evening from the 6 o'clock tip-off, there will be Loughborough Lightning taking on Worcester Wolves in the Women's Premier League. Thank you, though, for spending your bank holiday with us to watch the brilliant East London Phoenix and the fantastic Cardiff Met Archers here in the Women's Premier League.